Dear Max, I have not forgotten that time you threw the stone into the sea that hit me on the head back in 2010. So I have returned for revenge. P.S. My flipper is starting to get sore writing this note. Huh.
Bruce?
So, here we are, folks. Fourth and final movie in the Jaws franchise. Now, this came out in 1987, and I first watched this movie 2 years ago, along with the third movie. I watched three, and then the night after that, I watched four. And back then, I genuinely thought four was the better movie. And I think that's because of all the really bad effects that the third movie had. Because they were trying to be 3D, end up being just monstrosity. But I watched four back then. I thought this may be the better movie. Yeah, the shot looks better. It's centered around the original movie again. We have flashbacks and stuff. Watching these movies again for this review, ironically, that's flipped. Now I think Jaws 3 is slightly better than 4. Now that's primarily story and concept. And when I watched 4 again, it's like I was missing things the first time. But there were so many things in this movie that don't make sense, that shouldn't even be logical. Look, after Jaws 2, which was an alright movie, wasn't anywhere near as iconic as the first one. But when the third movie came out and it was bad, its bar was here, right? It was low. So when you imagine, okay, they've experienced rock bottom with the third movie, and they're going to make a fourth movie, and they're even bringing back Ellen Brody. So this movie has to at least go over that low bar, at least. It went even lower, way lower. How? I read somewhere this had like 25 million in budget. So how the fuck does that happen? So after this review, I'm actually going to make another video after this, basically just ranking the Jaws movies. Worst to best. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll do another video ranking maybe the sharks or something, I don't know. But you guys can let me know in the comments. If there's something you guys think I should rank in terms of this franchise, let me know. I'm open to any idea. But I'm going to start off with the things I did like about this movie. And believe it or not, there are some things. It's a minority of stuff, but it's something. So, first thing is the shark. It looks way better than the third movie. I mean, of course it does. There's some really cool shots involving the shark in this movie, and it genuinely does look pretty cool. Like you have scenes where Michael Brody is being chased underwater in the sea, like through like an old ship. Really cool and genuinely was quite an intense scene. The second positive is the soundtrack. This movie has a decent soundtrack overall. And the last positive, yes, we're on the last one already. I said it was in the minority. The last positive was the scene when Sean Brody gets eaten by the shark. The scene was pretty impactful, and it was quite a decent scene, and that's all I got. That's genuinely me squeezing every little thing I think is positive out of myself to throw. So on to what I did not like about this movie. First of all, what the fuck was this plot? What the fuck? What? So Ellen Brody is obviously back in it. In fact, Lorraine Gary, who plays Elaine Brody in this movie, actually came out of retirement to do this movie. No surprise, but this was her last role, and she went back to retirement. Of all the movies to come out of retirement for, eh? God. So she leaves the island, goes to the Bahamas in a plane. That is significant, in a plane. And the shark follows. So you're telling me a shark can keep up with an airplane? How? It's so over the top and so ridiculous. And they try and say that the shark remembers, like, remembers every family member. Like, it came back for Sean. Apparently, Chief Martin's death was because of the sharks. He had a heart attack out of fear. Apparently. Even though he fought the sharks twice in two movies, bravely, not out of fear. She gets to the Bahamas. The shark gets there in pretty quick. And suddenly now Ellen has telekinesis. Yeah, that's another thing. She now senses the shark. She can feel when a shark is around her family. So the plot sucks. The acting is terrible. It is really bad in this movie. I mean, all of it. Everybody except for the kid. She actually did a good job. She did what she was supposed to do. Just be a kid. She done great. Everyone else cringe. Like there was one line from Michael Brody, and he said it to his wife while she was welding or something. And he says they got into an argument, and he says, in the most cringy way, he just says to her, out of the blue, you know, I've always wanted to make love to an angry welder. It's all I've ever wanted ever since I was a kid. You're like, where did that come from? What? And he doesn't just say it like, he genuinely just says it like he's reading it off paper. Like, you know, I've always wanted to make love to an angry welder. It's what I've wanted since I was a kid. It's so effortless. You know, there's no pizzazzing. You know, I've always wanted to make love to an angry welder. Make Put a bit of effort into it. Fucking hell. Put some pizzazz in. The dialogue's bad. Acting is bad. plot is, I don't know what the fuck they were smoking when they came up with this shit. Snorted a big fat line and said, "What if the shark remembers them?" Yeah. What? No, just no. There's a character in this movie also who is Michael's best friend, Jake, who I just found to be annoying. Genuinely, just annoying. You just saying shit all. It was just annoying. And then, of course, you have Michael Caine in this movie, who I love. He's a great actor, and he does do an all right job. But in my eyes, it's just Michael Caine being Michael Caine. There's really not much acting involved. It's like you're just there to be himself, have a different name. That's how it was. In fact, Michael Caine famously said in an interview that somebody asked him, "What did you think of Jaws 4? Did you watch it?" And he said, "No, but I've seen the house that it bought me." Like, he went and bought his mum a brand new house with the money he got from this movie, but he hasn't watched it. What does that tell you? And Shark only eats two people in this whole movie. Two. What? No, it's bad. It's rough. The movie focuses a lot of the time, like focuses. And this felt like an episode of EastEnders or some kind of soap opera. That's what this felt like to me. Because it focused primarily on Ellen's relationship. Michael's arguing with his wife. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. We're all there for the shark and for the attacks. That's all we're there for. I'm not there to see relationships or crap like that. I don't care. This movie, it exhausted me watching it. I was tapping my screen because I was watching it on my phone with the earbuds in, and I was tapping it now and again to see how long's left of this fucking movie. Oh, half an hour. Oh. And the more the movie went on, the more ridiculous it got. Like Ellen jumps in a boat, sails way out into the ocean. That's huge, and she finds the shark. Ow! And then when she's there in her own, she starts shitting herself. Like, the fuck am I doing here? That's a shark. Screaming and fucking not knowing what to do. And then like you have the plane coming in, and so many things did not make sense. Like there was times when Ellen was having flashbacks of scenes that were in the movie, the first movie. How the fuck do you know if you weren't even there? How can you have flashbacks about something that you weren't even fucking present for? Makes no sense. Make it make sense. Whoever the fuck wrote this was high as a kite because nothing makes sense. Nothing. There was one nice little scene I forgot to mention that just popped into my head. There was a scene where Michael is at the table with his little daughter, and it's like an awesome little throwback to the first one, where everything he does, she mimics. Like he puts his hand there, she puts her hand there. And it's a callback to whenever, they did that with Martin. So I thought that was a really nice little touch. It was a nice little flashback, nice little reference. Then it all goes back to being a shit show. When you get to the end of this movie, they come up with this idea of making a shark eat something or stab it with something, and then they have a little button with them and they can electrocute it. So whenever they're doing this, and I shit you not, this made me facepalm so fucking hard. I'm pretty sure there was like a big red handprint on my face for like 2 days. You electrocute the shark, and it comes out of the water, and it roars. Yes, it roars. Proper roars. Sharks don't roar. It came out as a proper roaring like 3 times. Who thought that was a good idea? Let's make the shark roar like a fucking lion. A fucking shark. Even how they kill the shark off in this movie seemed so lazy. Because you just have like a flashback of Brody from the very first movie at the very end of it, and he's like, smile, you son of a bitch. They just do that exact same thing, but it's a flashback. Something she wasn't fucking there for. And he does that in the flashback. Shark blows up. Sharks are always fucking blowing up in this franchise. And I'm pretty sure there was even scenes of pieces of the shark going down that was from the first movie. So fucking lazy. Makes no sense at all. The whole ending of this movie was it just got worse and worse and worse. And like Jake, the character in this, fell into the water and got attacked by the shark. Proper like mold, like the shark was going on in the water with him Jake in his jaws, in his mouth, blood. But no, he's fine. Jake was back. He survived perfectly fine. Just but a scratch wound. I know in the other version, the theatrical version of this movie, Jake did die at the end of it. I think they should have kept that. It would have made sense. It would have made the fight more like, oh, well, I mean, we lost somebody. Nope, it's back. This movie was painful to watch. I'm not going to lie. This was really painful. And I don't think I'm ever going to watch this movie again. I only watched it for this review. And like I said, 2 years ago, for some reason, I thought it wasn't that bad. Now going back to it, it's definitely bad. It's the worst in my opinion. This movie had no business being made. I mean, I read somewhere they made it with $23 million budget. And this is what you come up with. Would I recommend this movie? Fuck no. Alright. What was my favorite scene? Probably the one I already mentioned, where the shark's chasing Michael through this sunken ship and he's swimming through it and the shark's going in. And there's one awesome scene in particular where he's in it and there's like a hole at the very top, like above him. Everything else is black except for this hole. You just see the shark going past it. That was a cool shot. Really like that. Apart from that whole scene, the rest is garbage. Came out of retirement for this though. If I recall, this movie, I think, was either nominated or won a Razzie Award I'm pretty sure Lorraine Gary, who played Ellen, got a Razzie Award for worst. Oh shit. Anyway, before I close this off, I'll throw in a fun fact for you. Did you know that originally this movie, instead of Sean getting eaten at the beginning of the movie, it was originally intended to be Martin, so Roy Schneider. But because he was asked and refused to come back, they had to rewrite it and put it as Sean. So, yeah, great. Awesome. Anyway, guys, what would I score this movie? 2 out of 10. That's only because I like that scene with the ship, the soundtrack. 2 out of 10. And I'm being generous, giving it a 2. So I don't recommend watching this movie unless you're extremely curious. And for that question, is this movie so bad that it can be good? I guess. But for me personally, no. Some people will get some enjoyment from this movie and walk away and think it was silly, but I had a laugh. That's the only thing you're going to walk away from. You're not going to walk away thinking this was a masterpiece. No fucking chance. They made the first Jaws. They should have ended the first Jaws. Should have been a one and done. Okay. Rant over. If you stuck it this long, thank you so much for watching. I wholeheartedly appreciate it, and I appreciate all of you. And yeah, as always, don't kill anyone.